Okay.
Tomas, how are you, man? It's nice to meet you.
I'm good. I'm good. I have a bad habit of taking naps.
I
Naps
hear
before
you.
the interviews. That's why I'm late, and that's why I'm a little bit confused for the.
I'm a personal trainer, man. I know where you're coming from. Naps are so vital.
Yeah, but the timing of the naps is even more vital.
Yeah, yeah.
You should
When you
wake up
when
from
your body
the nap.
calls for it, right?
Yeah, but you should wake up like at least 15 minutes before you have something important where you need your brains to function. So
It's all
uh,
right.
I love naps. I love snoozing also. So
Same
I just
here.
then I start making these plans in my brain, like how fast can I like get ready? Like is 90 seconds enough? If it is in my head, then I can sleep 15 seconds longer. Yeah,
You
always
know,
get fucked
I think me and you we have beyond the bald head in common. I think we have that in common as well.
up. Yeah.
Sleep 5 more minutes. I can make it to the train. I can walk over for 5 minutes. I got this.
Yeah, you make completely unrealistic plans that you will never perform in real life. But that's what happened now. Yeah.
That's what happens now. But you know what I want to say? I want to first congratulate you, man. I want to congratulate you on the album, Flames of Perdition. I just actually released a review today on my channel. Man, I'm a new fan, but that was a fucking fantastic album.
It came out well. It came out well. It was really good timing for that album because we lost like 200 gigs with Wolfheart,
Yeah.
and that was insanely frustrating time. Like the 2020 and also 21 for Wolfheart. So Dawn of Solace allowed me to focus something that is purely music that I because there's no touring plans, there's no like that in that level bigger career plans and schedules for Dawn of Solace that exists only for the music. So I could actually just focus on the music because everything else from the music business and from music side was just bringing like frustration and stress and disappointments and rescheduling and more frustration and
It seems to be a very common thread. Every interview I've had done, of course, it's going to affect everybody the same way in the music business. It's just everybody's like, I guess it's a good time to write an album. I have the time.
but that's why I would really like good timing for the Dawn of Solace because we've been working with a lot of new material with Wolfheart also, but that's a different feeling because it's still so much uncertainty in the music business
Yeah,
that
yeah.
it's really hard to be excited about the new stuff when there's just question marks in the air. If there's going to be tour, when the tours will happen, what is the status of the music business? Is there like the whole financial side of the touring is completely fucked up for at least for this year. So
And
it's
yeah,
hard, even though there's new music in the making, the mood is not as exciting that it used to be. But Dawn of Solace, we might play 2 or 3 gigs
yeah,
this
yeah.
year. If those don't happen, nothing changes. So with Dawn of Solace, it was completely disconnected with this whole pandemic thing. It was just making music, but I've been talking also with other songwriters and bands, and there's time to make music, but the mood is really weird because
Yeah,
you
you
always
can't
when
go
you
on
start writing,
tour.
yeah, because you start writing an album and then you start thinking like this is gonna be really killer on the live set, and then you start like you get excited already like about the tour and the plans because you usually do like quite a longer like the plans reach like 1 or 2 years ahead, so you know the things are going to happen, and this is just like igniting the engine and things go forward again. Now everything is like everything is missing on that side. So
I've talked to one guy from Israel, it was a band called Melakesh, and he's like, it's survival mode. Right now, it's surviving long enough until things return back to normal. And for some people, it becomes not even an option. And they're forced to switch and adapt and do other things. And other people, they're able to do that. Either their financial situation allows them to, or other countries like United States, we are having tours, not a lot.
yeah,
But yeah, we are having tours with American bands, not so much with European bands at the moment. And I
yeah,
gotta be
we are hopefully coming there with Wolfheart in April and May.
in
We
April,
are
May.
just in the middle of getting everything ready with the visas and the flights and the tour buses and merchandise and everything. So it would be nice if it would actually happen. It is, at least US is a lot easier than Europe at the moment.
Yeah.
But I've heard the Canadian border is not really like cooperating with the situation, but still like that looks very like looks like a thing that would actually happen.
Yeah. And I got to be honest with you too, though. Despite being, I'm like a hardcore metalhead. I was born in Russia. I grew up with metal with all my brothers, all my cousins, everybody, all metalheads. But I'm actually relatively new to Wolfheart and like Before the Dawn, Dawn of Soul, all the projects that kind of you've been at. And I've been actually discovered all your stuff through starting this kind of YouTube channels. And to my surprise, I'm like, how could I've never heard of Wolfheart? And I was going to say, my first question to you, as I've kind of researched how many different projects you were in, is like, where do you get all those creative juices coming from? Because I feel like for everybody, it's just so different how they activate their creativity and get themselves to write music or whatever it may be, whatever art they chose.
Yeah, this should be an easy question, but I haven't thought about this for at least a decade anymore. Oh, because me, it's just like a thing that happens. It's a thing that I do because it would be really weird for me to think to go through 1 year without making one album, because that's been the pace for the past 20 years. So it's because that's I do love to play drums. I do love to play piano. I love to play guitar. But what I love about the playing is building something new, like creating something new. And it's not like I'm never gonna be like this super professional level musician in any of the instruments, because I don't train to be a musician. I just train to be a songwriter, and everything that I play is aimed to write something new. It's just always when I pick up a guitar, the first thing I want to do, like check out is there any new ideas like popping out from my head?
Got it.
So it's like a constant process. So if I would like spend 1 year without making an album, I would need to be injured or something else, something like a dramatic thing should happen in my life to stop that. So,
you know, what I actually said in my review for your album, and it's the first time I ever reviewed anything from you guys, is that I personally feel, it's my own opinion, I think you were born to be a musician. And for that reason alone, I think like there's certain people, they just overflow with creativity and they need to release it. For them, it's like a release. It's like, I need to write, I need to do this. They just enjoy it so much. And I thought for you, that was kind of the path I saw. When you mentioned the songwriting, it's something I mentioned as well. I said, I'm like, I like the drums, I like everything, but it's the sum of its parts that when they come together in a song and composition, that really makes it the special thing that it is. And I feel like it was tenfold with you. I listened to the album. I'm like, I can pick out songs and I can say, I like this song, I like that song, but it's the flow of it. There's certain albums, certain bands, it's just, they need to be listened to from beginning to the end. And since I was little, my father is like, listen to the album from beginning to the end. That's what the artist intended. That's what he meant it for it to be. You can do whatever you want afterwards, but at least give him the respect of listening to the full thing.
That is a really good advice, but also the world is changing, because nowadays, like even though, like for example, this new Dawn of this album, it like there was 3 singles. It's more and more important to have the individual songs, to get them on Spotify playlists and stuff like that. So it's and that's how people listen to music nowadays. They have playlists, and it's more like individual songs here and there. So that's just the direction. People are not buying albums in that sense. They are just buying music, like more smaller portions from different bands. So it's but still, to me, yeah, I was born in the 80s. When I bought the CD, I had to have the booklet. I have to be able to read who the band is thanking on the booklet, like what logos. I had to see everything when I was listening to the album, at least the first time. So to me, the music will always be like an album.
I agree with you 100%.
I even tried that, like to write for different artists, like songs, but that's horrible.
It's not the same.
Because you write individual songs that are just, and then it goes to some other artist's production team, and then they decide what they do. Then it becomes nothing in my book, because it's not a part of anything. It needs to be a part of an album, even though if people listen to the album different way that I meant it when I was writing it. But it's for me to write, it has to have a beginning, it has to have an end. It has to like in some way complete the cycle.
And you know what it is too? I also felt there's quite a few bands I feel about this way. There's certain bands where, especially in thrash metal, they tend to write riffs that are cool and find ways to kind of plug them into the music. And sometimes it comes out well, sometimes I think it comes out a little fragmented. But then there's bands, it feels like a composition, like Opeth, Green Carnation, Wolfheart. It feels just like a composition that was meant to be played like that from beginning to the end. And I think they both kind of have their own things that they add to music. I personally prefer the compositional thing because it's just so much more interesting to come back to and listen to and catch things they didn't catch on the first time.
Yeah, and I like that the song also kind of like tells a story. Not just the story is only on the lyrics, but the song, good song in my opinion, should be in a way that it gives you this like a certain cinematic like idea or vision in your head. So the song, yeah, I actually said it already. Yeah, song needs to carry a story on its own, and that's how I write the lyrics also always. That I need to have the song ready. Then I write the lyrics. I never write any lyrics before. If I have a blank piece of paper, even though if I know what I would want to sing, it doesn't make any sense if I don't have the song. But when I write the song first, then of course I write it in a way that the song needs to support itself. Like it's not relying on the vocal, it's not relying on the lyrics. So they are like two different pieces that just fit together when they come together.
Did you ever find that playing all the instruments when you're writing music, do you find being able to play all the instruments, writing all the instruments, do you find it to be a hindrance or like an overstimulus? Or for you, it's the best way to write music?
For the music, writing is the best. And it's also, that is the driving force that like pushes me to be a better musician, not the actual musicianship. Because of course I want to create new stuff as a songwriter, but I need to be able to play them if it's like I don't have Solace, for example.
Yeah.
So I'm already like practicing certain things with the drums so I could play the ideas for the next album. As a songwriter, and when you are like making music and making albums, you are in a completely different cycle than the listener, because people will hear the new album this Friday, but I need to already start to prepare like to be in a place as a musician to be able to play the ideas for the next album that I have in my head as an ideas, which I start to make demos maybe in the early fall, which means that we start recording the album 2023, January, February, which means the album comes out 1.5 years from now. But I'm at that point of the cycle that I'm already like preparing that I could play those things, because again, my time goes to writing stuff instead of like learning to be a musician. That means that I'm always kind of like one step behind.
And you can't split yourself in 5 different directions. You have to put that time into writing, and then obviously you have to come back. So I understand where you're coming from with that.
But it's as a songwriting itself, it's just so much fun to play, like and build everything on the layers, and you know, in my head I always have this like a spider web where here the bass drum comes in, so the bass needs to support that, but then the accent of the guitar needs to be like going toward the melody, but then so you just like everything is connected with each other, and when you start to like lay that down track by track at the studio, that's really like what I really enjoy. But for like a Wolfheart, for example, it was vital that Jonas joined the band 2013 after the first album was released, because I did that myself, and that where I reached my limits already. Like I was really able to play the first album songs, but doing like blast beats 220 beats per minute in the studio, like that playing quality, I wouldn't be able to write that kind of songs if I would be the drummer. So like being like a multi-musician can also backfire. Like if you insist of playing everything yourself, you need to understand that at some points you are kind of like holding the whole like musical stuff back because you are just a man. It's not like a
you have to recognize your limits and kind of I know where you come from. You know what? When I listened to also Flames of Perdition, I actually started to see differences because again, as a new fan, when I first listened to the album, it was to my surprise. For some reason in my head, I'm like, oh, it's going to be like Wolfheart. You know, it's coming from the same person. For some reason, I had this stupid idea in my head, and then actually it came out to be very emotional and beautiful. Where like Wolfheart just has this to me has this energy and kind of force of intensity. Because the first song I got on with was The Hunt. And once I heard The Hunt, I was like, I need to hear more because this is right up my alley. I really like the more extreme, heavy stuff. I like that melancholic doom side that you're very much known for. And what he kind of answered this question already, but is it cathartic for you to kind of express all these emotions in music?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they are completely like different to me now, the Dawn of Solace and Wolfheart, for example, because Wolfheart is carrying a different kind of themes. We did like one album and one EP about the Winter War, and there's a lot of like lyrics about the nature. The next album is going to be very heavily like connected with Finnish nature and mythology. So there I'm not expressing myself as a person when I write the lyrics. With Dawn of Solace, it's only me expressing myself.
More personal.
But when it's not me doing the vocals, that like puts me in really like as this safe bubble, I can say things really directly, and I know how people listen to music. Nobody ever stops to think like what the guy actually think when he write that. That's how I listen to music. When I hear something really cool from my like Catatonia is something that I really enjoy when it comes to lyrics and the vocals. And it's always when I pick up something is because it has some connect. I make a connection with myself or the past or whatever. It's not like I think like I sit down and I start thinking, what did Jonas, the singer, think about when he was writing that? So
yeah.
When I don't need to sing it, I can kind of like have this safety distance for the certain topics. So it's in a personal level, Dawn of Solace is completely in a different place than Wolfheart. But I need the Wolfheart side also because I need to be able to express that different kind of energy. Because the other one is like life force, the other one is like not the survival mode kind of thing, but this more like
kind of primal.
Wolfheart is a primal, and the energy, and Dawn of Solace is like the demons that I just need to process out through music, but it doesn't carry that same like a punch or like
it's beautiful. I called it beautiful. I thought the music was just beautiful. The melodies, the guitars, just everything, and everything flowed really well. I was even gonna say to you, as I started doing reactions in this channel, it just seems like Finnish band. And I know Finland, I know Sweden, I know all these. Europe is known for genre, but what is in the water in Finland? What do you think that makes it so special about Finland that so many great bands just come from there, or this kind of music flows?
That is a really good question because it's like when it comes to like the length of the winter or the nature, Sweden and Norway are not that different. Of course, Norway is more beautiful on the coast. Finland is a little bit more like barren and desolate, especially when you go up north. But it's just the same climates. Everything is, all the like pieces are the same. But the Finnish melancholy that is very like strong in like Insomnium, Swallow the Sun. Probably in my bands also Amorphis.
Yeah.
It is hard to explain, but especially for like a Finnish like listeners, as a Finnish person, it's
you're able to connect with it, right?
Yeah, it's like it should be, and it's not like I can always hear that this is a Finnish band, or this is like a song from a Finnish band, and it feels good because it sounds like it should be. There's a certain undertone of melancholy that we need to apparently have in the music. I don't know, are we such a sad people or what is the reason? But
you know, I feel the same way when I listen to Russian bands, which unfortunately there's not a very big metal scene in Russia. There's fans, big metal fans, but the scene is still very small for such a large country. But just how much nature and the north and the south and the differences in Russia, I would expect to be a bigger scene there, but there isn't. And it seems like Europe, like Finland, like Norway, like Sweden, they just absolutely dominate with music. And some of my favorite bands all come from there. I love Brazil. I love Brazil's energy, their aggression that they bring to music as well. United States with their Bay Area and Florida scenes with death metal and everything like that. They all bring something different, I feel.
Yeah, but I wouldn't be able to pinpoint where is the Finnish like factor comes, and we are like really small country. It's only like 5 million people living in this one small strip of a land.
Yeah.
So there's no explanation, but I do like do admit it that there is this certain Finnish thing that only Finnish bands are able to, and it's not like because the Finnish bands don't sound like carbon print copies of each other. Like
yeah,
they are like Insomnium sounds exactly like Insomnium. Amorphis is Amorphis. Swallow the Sun. I don't really think of any comparison. You should definitely check out a band called Ghost Brigade if you haven't yet.
I love Ghost Brigade. They're really good.
So it's like all the bands are standing on their own feet and they sound unique, but they still sound Finnish. So it's that is a weird but a cool thing. I don't know where it comes from, but
yeah. It just you close your eyes and like, that's from Finland. I know it.
Yeah.
It's the same thing. You can do the same thing with Sweden, right? These really distinct sounds. You just close your eyes, and if you're a fan, you can hear it in the music.
Yeah.
And I would say for you as a musician, I started to really love to ask this question because you get some really interesting answers. Is for you as a musician, what has been your most proudest moment you ever had? You just, for example, I asked Hannes from Sabaton that last time, and it was for him playing in his hometown, and in front of it was like hundreds of thousands of people. So I wanted to hear kind of your answer. What was kind of the most proudest moment you ever had?
I'm still working towards that. It's last 2 years kind of like deleted a lot of like the good memories when there was so much like there was nothing good happening for 2 years basically.
Yeah.
Wolfheart has been the one that I've been pushing really like hard forward for the past 8 years now, and we had like a huge plans and everything. All the stars were aligned, and then everything got fucked up. So it's not like if that would have happened past like last year, if that my proudest moment, we were working towards that. But as a songwriter, definitely one of the coolest moments ever in my career, not like so far coolest thing is happening at the moment, but I can't tell nothing about that.
Okay, and then we'll keep it tight-lipped until it comes out.
Yeah, but it's there's been some good things also. I've been actually updating my email almost like once an hour today. So see, did I receive certain files to my email or not? But there's been good things, and that's gonna be one of my proudest moments as a songwriter. So
awesome. I'll be looking forward to hear that.
I can't say that, but maybe you can hear it this year. Probably,
perfect.
Maybe.
And I mean, amidst all this songwriting, I know I've kind of heard before that you don't like taking big breaks, or you come back to writing music pretty quickly. But I think we all need a time to step back and recharge, and we all have different ways of doing it. And I think it's important to find your thing away from whatever that you do. As a personal trainer, I just go do completely different things. So what is your way to step back and recharge a little bit?
I've been working as a gardener and landscaper for 27 years now.
Oh, that's awesome.
So, and it's a seasonal job in Finland. So depends of the year. I work max 8 months a year. That's the total max. Usually I do 7 months like I did this year. And the way I've been working for the past 15 years is I do the work that I can, and then all the music stuff and schedules are the priority number one. But every year I do 1 month or the 7 months of that kind of job. So there's always that's so opposite of all the music business.
Yeah.
So that's a really good like a thing for me. And then also like if there would be like well, this year I did last year I did the 7 months because there was no festivals, there was no tours. It was really good to be able to do something completely different and take my mind off from all the music stuff and everything that was creating the stress and frustration. But also when I'm basically done with the work of the year, my head is basically like exploding of ideas and things that I want to do musically, and the albums and the plans that I've been building up in my head when I've been doing the work during the whole summer. And then when I suddenly have like 5 months of a holiday that I can only focus on the music.
Yeah.
It's that is probably one thing that has been like one reason for this like yearly cycle of making music, because there's one part of the year that is for the gardening stuff or like work in general, because I used to do festival production and stage management and working as a backliner. So, and that was also a seasonal thing naturally because of the long winter in Finland. So in the worst times, I was doing way over 300 hours per month.
Yeah.
So it's then you get disconnected completely from the music, from everything that side. And then when you get to be on the holiday, that's the only thing you want to do.
That's the only thing you want to do. Exactly.
Yeah.
But in your music kind of path, you seem to be very rooted in a death metal, kind of melodic death metal genre, doom metal, goth metal. Have you ever considered, let's say, doing a band or a project in a completely different style, like power metal or thrash? Or it's always been your draw to this particular, or even maybe you don't even have that in your head. You just kind of write music the way you like.
It's there's one project on the works that is completely different. It's more like this really old school death metal, but I don't know if I will have time for that because just getting the Dawn of Solace out, and then there's we need to work with the new Wolfheart, and then we're gonna do one more album with Before the Dawn.
Mm-hmm.
We need to do at least write and record the album this year, so there's no room for like other projects at the moment because I don't know how to like I don't, does it sound arrogant? I don't like to half-ass things. Like it doesn't mean that I would do anything better than anybody else, but that means that I if there's a project, that means that there needs to be an album, which means that there needs to be videos, there needs to be like it needs to be the whole package. So for me to having like a new project is a huge amount of work for me because I need to, it's not just 1 or 2 songs.
You don't want to half-ass it. You want to make sure everything is done to 120% that you can do it.
Yeah, but it has to be like, if I could just do 1 song here and there and have fun with the project, that would be okay. Yeah. But what I meant with the half-assing is that if there's something new, that means that I need to make a full album. It needs to be like 8 to 10 songs.
Yeah.
But when the album comes out, the promotion nowadays is relying heavily on the music videos and the pre-sales. So I need to get all of that done. So that kind of like builds up as a huge amount of work. So it's, but yeah, if it depends. If I would like come across with the really cool vocalist that we have a really good chemistry, I wouldn't see any issues of working with something completely different. But I'm pretty busy at the moment with the styles that I have chosen. So it's
pretty busy is an understatement, I think.
Yeah, so it's there's no like a real urge to try something new, but definitely it might happen in the future.
I gotta say, man, you have some of the most loyal fans I've ever seen. And when I first started kind of with the thing I do on my channel, I speak my mind, like a reaction to a song when you're there by yourself is very raw and it can change many different ways after each listen. And if I say even the smallest criticism, like, why was this in the background? Every single one, what do you mean? What are you talking about? Oh, everybody jumps on you. I'm like, wow, they really love this guy. And I don't mean like from a bad place, because the more I listen to it, the more I like it. I think it's a natural way of listening to music. I can't tell you how many bands, Green Carnation, for example, didn't like in the beginning for some reason. A year later, I'm like, why? Why didn't I like this in the beginning?
Yeah, it's been really like great to see that I started releasing music 2006, and I still recognize the certain faces and names. Still, when when I post something that there's a new song coming or there's a new video out, there's the same people that have been like there for like 20 years almost, are like are still like, and it's not like they are doing that to just to please me, or like it is really like kind of like remarkable, because like a lot of like I was kid at the time when I started releasing music, and those fans, some of the fans were really young, and now we are past 40s and still we come to the same place, like so it's a really cool thing.
And you mentioned about a little bit about the tour. You said you're not sure what's going to happen. Can the fans at all expect any sort of touring from any of the projects that you have? Especially, I think it'd be really nice. I would love to come and see you in New York or United States if you ever came here, because I think I've become a fan of all of your projects, really. And I would love to see you on tour. So I'm sure people would want to know if there's anything coming, if you can obviously talk about it.
Well, there's already like the North American tour, Devastation of the Nation. Everything that we do is based on that it happens. We have like we are in the middle of all the process with the booking flights and the visas and the merch and everything. So everything we do at the moment is based on the fact that the tour happens. So, but again, the past 2 years didn't really support any of that. But there's already Swallow the Sun did the North American tour. Omnium Gathering is starting their tour. Cataclysm and Dark Tranquility will start their tour, I think, within a week. Killswitch Engage is starting their tour. So a lot of tours are happening in US and North America. So that looks very like positive thing.
Promising, yeah.
Yeah. And we're going to do one European tour in fall. That's already announced. But yeah, Wolfheart is definitely, not definitely, but looks very, very promising that we're going to do the North American tour. Dawn Soul is never going to do a tour because I don't think we would ever find the time with me and Mikko. Mikko has also his other band and day job and family. When things get back to normal, I'm going to be really busy touring with Wolfheart. So it just doesn't make any sense, and it was never meant to be a band. That is going to tour a lot. So we're going to do some gigs here and there if it makes sense and it sounds like a fun thing to do. But there's like, we could continue like many albums in the future with any gigs at all. So it's.
Well, you know what? I'll do this. We Russians, we can't live without toasts. So I'll give you I'll give you a toast, man. I wish that this year brings all those things that were fucked up in the past couple of years 180 degrees, and you'll have to be pushing things away because you weren't expecting to all this to come your way. So all your fans and everybody around the world can really come together, because I love the metal community. I love how we come together, how we support each other, how we really look out for bands who are either small or are struggling, wherever it may be. We really come together as fans. And I really wish that for you from the bottom of my heart, because I've become a fan, and I really like what all of your projects stand for emotionally, on the logical level and musically. So I think just more people hearing your music is necessary.
Thank you.
And I really appreciate it that you kind of did this interview with me. And I wanted to give you maybe the last word. If there's anything you would want to tell fans, or you would want to let them know, anything of the sort, I'll leave the floor to you to kind of end it.
Usually my last words usually are just I see you at the tour, but now I can only say that eventually I will hopefully see the tour, because things have happened in the past now, but eventually.
Yeah. Well, in that case, I hope to see you in New York. I'll be one of among the people in the crowd banging my head.
That is cool. See you there.
Thanks a lot, man. Thanks for doing this.
Bye.
Have a good one, man.